Hey everybody, welcome back to our property marketing module of our the Landlord Launch program. Today we are back and we are going to dive into online marketing. So this should be the last section of the property marketing component of this program, and we're just going to kind of explore some of the things that are out there available to you in terms of online marketing. You know, I try to do everything I try to look at here is free, and there's a lot more out there that you can pay for. A lot of these free platforms have paid versions as well. So I don't know, personally, almost everything I do online is free. With the apartment side of things, in the multifamily side of things, you know, we had to pay. There's a lot of competition there. But on the single family, all the advertising, marketing, all platforms I use, you can do pretty much everything you need on free platforms. So let's take a look here at what we have for online marketing. Okay, so we're going to be covering again how to drive traffic to your property using online marketing. Like I said, I like to use those free listing options. We're going to talk about syndication, what that is, how that works, what that looks like, and how that can be useful to you. And then we're going to discuss some of the property marketing platforms. And again, everything that we cover today in terms of specific online listing services or whatever companies we touch on, that's just a portion. There's a lot of things out there. The ones we're going to touch on, I think, are the main ones, at least as of the recording of this particular video. But again, they've been the main ones for some time. They'll probably be the main ones for quite some time to come. So, but the point is don't think that just because they're not on here that they're not valid, legitimate, or useful either. There's a lot of really good, useful resources out there when it comes to internet listing services. Okay, so why is the online marketing important? Well, it's cost effective. I mean, you can't get much better than free, and it's not like on a lot of these that they're just junk platforms. There's some really sophisticated platforms on here, and as you'll see, some of them make their money off tenant-based type services, tenants that you draw to their platform through your marketing. So that's where some of them make their money from. Some of them upsell landlord services as well, but some of it's just advertising. But for you, for the most part, it's very good tools, and again, can't beat free. Why do we want to use them? Because more exposure equals more leads, more tours, more applications, the quicker you can get your property rented and get it producing income, which is the whole point. All right. First one I want to talk about is Facebook. Facebook is an amazing resource. There's actually two different kind of components here to Facebook that I use. And the first one is your personal page. If you have a Facebook personal page, it is a great place to let everybody know that your home is available for rent. And it is a great way to post your property, to get out to your friends and family, ask them to share it, maybe offer some referrals, things along those lines. So again, great resource to have. The next one is the Facebook Marketplace, which, as you see the screenshot here, is one of the Facebook Marketplace, and that's going to be more geared towards the actual marketing of the rental property itself, where people are going on looking for a place to live. You put your information in, you put your property description, your headlines, and all that stuff, a method of contact, the photos, the same thing we were talking about, all the stuff that we've already prepared with the headline description, the photos, the floor plans. This is just one of those platforms we are now going to be able to list that property. Same with your personal as well. I mean, all that stuff, you're putting a listing out there, just happens to be on your personal page. The other thing I like about the Facebook Marketplace is that you can go through and you can look up like homes for rent in your city, and things along those lines, or different groups, the neighborhood groups, moms club groups, anything along those lines. and you can join those groups. And then when you post to your Facebook Marketplace, you'll have the option of posting to those as well. So depending on how many groups you are involved with, one Facebook Marketplace posting can post to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 groups if you have, the type of stuff that's in there, buy, sell, trade groups, any of those things. So a lot of exposure can come out of Facebook for your property. Again, ginning up those leads. Okay, Instagram, another social media platform that you can use to get the word out. Some interesting stats out there. The average Instagram user spends almost an hour per day on the platform. The Instagram users generally earn a higher salary than those on Facebook and Twitter. So if you have a higher end home, this may be a good place for you to rent. A home that you can charge more rent for, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, depending on your market and what you're doing. Again, it's not necessarily traditional advertising formats, but it's a great way to get the announcements out, the availability, and depending on the size of your network, you can share that to a lot of people very quickly as well. And again, it's a word of mouth tool. I mean, if you get that out there and somebody knows somebody, that's the way it works, they'll share it and they'll say, hey, listen, I saw this. Maybe you'll like it. So Instagram, Facebook, both great ways to get your listing in front of a lot of people very quickly. And again, it comes with, outside of the marketplace, but on your Facebook personal page and the Instagram, it comes with kind of a built-in credibility already, because not necessarily that they know you, but they know the person that, is sharing it, and of course you theoretically know them as well. So there's this kind of just built-in credibility in those types of ads. So it is a stronger word-of-mouth form of advertising. Nextdoor.com. So what Nextdoor is, it's basically it's a neighborhood-based social network platform. Most of them have free accounts, and there's neighborhood groups and so forth. And whenever I get a rental, I always end up in that Nextdoor.com neighborhood group for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons is just so I know what's going on in the neighborhood, because a lot of times people will put posts up about little crime things that are happening, or issues with the HOA, or any of that type of stuff. Plus, it's a great source of information about the neighborhood in itself. But it's again, it's kind of like a yard sign. It is a great way to get your listing out to people in that area, in that neighborhood. Perhaps they have friends or family that want to move close to them, and since it's their neighborhood, everybody likes to promote their own neighborhood. And so if something comes available, oftentimes that word of mouth component, sharing it, things along those lines will occur for Nextdoor.com as well. YouTube, I like YouTube. I use YouTube. It's different though. It's not necessarily for getting the word out, but I use it as a tool to help get the word out, as a resource. And what I'll end up doing here is creating a video property tour and uploading it to YouTube. And usually it's unlisted. It's not like it's a public listing, but then I can use that link on my advertising to get people just one more way of looking at the property. And a lot of the platforms out there actually have sections now for video tours, so that you can upload your pictures, you can post your link to your video tours, and it's just, along with the floor plans and everything else, it's just one more thing that makes your ads stick out over other people's. Plus it's good to help people place them in the actual property itself. You're walking them through, you're talking what's going on, you're pointing out the features. So if they decide that they want to come see the place, they've probably already decided they wanted it, and they're just going in for a final confirmation. So those leads that you get from that type of stuff are actually a lot stronger than just a cold call lead, or somebody that saw the ad and is looking at it for the first time. It's just one more layer of securing that application, and another marketing tool for you. The Vimeo is another great source for that as well, in terms of if you don't like YouTube, Vimeo, you can upload your videos there and do the same thing. Craigslist. So Craigslist is a mixed bag. It's widely known for a lot of landlords for its scammers. There's some things you can do to kind of sidestep the scammers, though. It can be an amazing source of traffic. It actually depends really kind of on your area. I've had some areas where this works really good and you get really good qualified applicants and a lot of traffic from it. And then I've had others to where all I've gotten is just horrible applications, or it just wasn't worth it. But why not give it a shot? It's free, and see what happens with it, and you'll make your own determination. You'll make up your own mind. Is it worth the time of posting the ad on there? Again, track where these things are coming from. When we get to like the traffic log, you'll see this on the leasing module, which will be up after the property management module, the property marketing module, sorry. The leasing traffic, when you take a call, there's a place for you to document where the traffic's coming from. Monitor that, see where it's coming from. And if you never get a lead from Craigslist, okay, then stop using it. Or if all of your leads from Craigslist that turn into applications, if every single one of them have issues, that maybe you make a decision not to use it anymore. But try it for yourself, see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is that you put a little time and effort determining whether or not it's worth it. So I personally, again, will try Craigslist out in whatever market I'm in, because I've had some great successes. And in the areas that it doesn't work, I just stop using it. affordablehousing.com. So this is a great site if you want to work with housing programs, Section 8 listings, and depending on the city and state, it's also for some of those other programs we talked about too. And again, it's exclusively for landlords who kind of want to work with this program. Check it out, take a look at it. They oftentimes are kind of funded by whatever public housing HUD related organization that works with that city department or program. And there's been, there's an old site called socialserve.com that kind of did this before, and it was for like tax credit properties, Section 8 properties, and so forth. And I really didn't see much on SocialServe last time I went to look. I couldn't really find it anywhere. So I think that affordablehousing.com has kind of taken over the responsibility of that just in general. But again, it's free account, some good resources on there. And if you're looking to work with housing programs, I think it's a great place to start and a great place to list your property, so let the people who have vouchers that are working with these programs know that you are a landlord that are working with these programs. Okay, syndication. Now, basically what syndication is taking a listing that you post somewhere. Let's say Zillow. I don't give a lot of love to Zillow in this course, but let's say Zillow, because Zillow has a huge network. I should give more attention to Zillow. I just don't. But let's say Zillow. Zillow has a network of partner agencies. Some of them are listed on the slide here. But what they do is they take your listing and they get all your information, your pictures, everything else. And then when you post it to advertise, they then push it out to all of these like partner internet listing services, and it shows your ad as well. And most of them will say, whether it's Hot Pads or whatever the partner agency is, people know that it's part of the Zillow network. I think Truly is part of the Zillow network too. But that's basically what it does. All your property management softwares, when they do the marketing, they syndicate. They push out to other softwares. Turbo Tenant, Avail, Apartments.com, Zillow, all of these places that are like the main kind of drivers of this property marketing resources for landlords, they all syndicate. So you're not just getting your ad on one site, it's anywhere between 15 and 50 sites. And again, some of the sites they're not really worth it. I mean, some of them get extremely specific, like Hudson County Landlords Association. And if you're, I don't even know, I'm just making that up, but if you're, in Arizona like I am, and Hudson County is in, Texas or Michigan or whatever, that makes no sense whatsoever, but it still gets pushed out there because everything that hits Zillow or Turbo Tenant or whatever gets pushed out to all the syndication sites. So some of them are really useful, but for the most part, syndication is a good thing. It does increases the exposure to the properties. They're usually basic listings. I'm sure you can pay for like premium spots and things along those lines. And getting more traffic, more things sent to you. And I think that's why I don't concentrate on Zillow a whole bunch, is because you do have, I think you can get one listing these days, but Zillow used to be free for landlords, and now what they're really doing is pushing for their paid platform. And I think that's why I don't do a whole bunch with Zillow. Like Turbo Tenant and Avail and Apartments.com and those, they have paid upgrades for you, but on the property marketing and all the basic landlord stuff, they just take care of you on that. They make their money off. Hopefully, if you get your property on there, and you'll see this, if you get your property on there, hopefully the tenants that come in, you'll use their screening, which means they get the money from that. Maybe you'll upgrade the marketing. Maybe you'll buy one of their forms packs, but it doesn't affect your ability to get things done, and everything else is just extra, and that's how they make their money. Towards Zillow, it seems like that's their primary business plan is, maybe they give you one free listing or so many days on it, but they really, on the front end, they want that money off the landlord is what it seems like to me. So that's why I kind of steer away, because I really am concentrated on more of the free resources for landlords. If you want to pay for something, you don't have to go very far to find out all the people that will take your money. That's why I concentrate on the free stuff. Like I said, the property management software has used this as well. And again, it's a good thing. It's been going on a long time. The big boys, like Apartments.com and they bought Cozy. There was this run where like these marketing, like Apartments.com and Apartment Guide and like Zillow, they started buying up all these other kinds. There's only a handful now of these larger one shots that then push out to all the other stuff that these bigger companies bought up, and now they're just kind of like sister organizations. Like I think it was Zillow that bought out Trulia, and now everything gets pushed out to Trulia. Trulia is still a separate thing on its own, but it's owned by Zillow. So again, there's a handful of the big ones, and they push out to everything else in one way or another. Here is, you saw the picture back up here with some of the stuff, but here's just kind of more of a listed deal. And again, some of them, Facebook Marketplace, Zumper. Zumper, in some markets, Zumper sends more traffic than it can handle. Now, the quality of that traffic is questionable sometimes, but it's a lot of traffic. Apartments.com, Apartment List, Houses.com, Realtor.com. And the list goes on, and some of them, like I said, get extremely specific. Like over here on this last one, there's MichiganHousingCouncil.com, MotorCityApartments.com. That's not going to do me any good in Arizona, but for some people, there's MichiganHousingLocator.com. So again, they all push out to a lot of different places. Some of them get very specific, and these are just some examples of this. Isn't an all-inclusive list by any means. A lot of the major ones are over here, over on this left side, hand side, Facebook, Zumper, Apartments, all the way down to Pad Mapper. Walk Score is a pretty decent one that I've heard of. Apartment List. Apartment List is interesting. It works different. I don't have it really isolated out on here, but you list it, if I remember correctly. I know apartment communities use this a lot, but it's almost like a locator service is what they're called. And you sign up with them, and you pop your ad on there, and then if they send over an applicant ends up renting, they charge you like a locator fee, $200, $500, $700, probably based off your rent. A lot of the apartment communities that I oversaw kind of use that as well. I didn't get into the dirt with it, but what else do we have here? Yeah, so syndication's a good thing. At the end of the day, it's a good thing. It's a lot more exposure for your property, which means it'll rent quicker. Okay, so property marketing platform. So this is what we're talking about when it comes to like the Turbo Tenant, a Zillow, and things like that. So these are basically on-site websites that when I put this together, I described them as focusing on the marketing of your property. More and more, though, are bringing on partnerships and components to where they're almost a property management software. Now, the standard property management softwares out there, like the Yardies, the One Sites, the Appfolio, Buildium, Rent Manager. I think Rent Ready is it Rent Ready? I can't. Yeah, no, Rent Ready was an old one. There's Ready Rent. Ready Rent, I think it is. I think is like the bigger pockets. Version of it. But those are more traditional property management softwares, which are supposed to be A to Z, everything built in. These online platforms are getting more and more like that, especially Turbo Tenant. I mean, they just introduced a partnership. I can't remember who it's with, but it's looks like a pretty robust accounting system for what it is. I mean, I say robust. It's a pretty robust accounting solution for a single family property owner or somebody who just owns a handful of houses. It's not going to be able to manage a 100-unit complex by any means, but it was a pretty cool little answer. What they're basically trying to do is make bookkeeping and accounting easier for a landlord to do themselves if they want to. That's what the goal is. But they're trying to cater to the individual landlord, which I really like, and they're trying to provide tools and solutions to them which will help them manage their own property. And of course, that's what we're about here at the Landlord Launch, and that's why I push a lot of these programs or talk about a lot of these programs. Again, they make money from tenant-based fees and landlord upsells for the most part. They offer a lot of free tools, a lot of resources, a lot of articles and a lot of my reference on here. You'll see like the landlord tenant laws. I mean, I use Avails, I use apartment.coms, I use Turbo Tenants, I use Nolos, I use the Zillow networks, links, and I'm just collecting the information and putting them in a convenient place for you. And why? It's because there's no point to reinvent the wheel. They got great platforms, so I'm just getting those to a place where you can access them easily, and there's a lot of great information in there, so a lot of good stuff. And what they really try to do is they create that win-win relationship with the landlord, which again is what we're about here at the Landlord Launch. It's what I like. Is who we're here to help as a single family landlord. And of course, people who own apartments, I'll help anybody, but really the niche that we're trying to help and be a part of are for the largest group of people that have the least amount of resources, which is the people that own just a few houses or smaller apartment communities, small portfolio, let's just say that, and they want to manage themselves. So self-managing landlords. And that's what these folks do as well. So that's why I like promoting them whenever I can. So let's see here. Yep, so the first one we're going to talk about is Turbo Tenant. I've used Turbo Tenant. I like Turbo Tenant. It's very user-friendly. I've rented my house off of one of my houses off Turbo Tenant. I've used their screenings. I've did their marketing. I went through the whole board with them. I have not messed around with their accounting software partnership because that was a rather recent one. I just haven't messed with it. I actually use Buildium for my property management clients. So there's no real point for me to use Turbo Tenant. Maybe one of these days I will, just to be able to let you guys know what the platform can and can't do and those types of things. But they do offer an online application I like, tenant screening. I like the online application because you can, again, add that to all of your links, and anytime somebody wants to apply for your home, they can click on that link. It'll be directed right to Turbo Tenant. They fill it all out. You can use their screening service. The tenant will pay the screening service directly. You can store documents there. You can collect electronic signatures on their leases. I think that's one of the upsells. You can collect online monthly payments, and you can do electronic payments using like Zelle and other cash apps. But what's different about this is that you can do like a recurring deal to where they can sign on online every month, and they can pay that. They can see their balance. They can see the late charges. It's a running tenant ledger. You can create your property flyers based off of your listing that you've posted. They do have the free rent estimate components of the program, and they also have paid versions, which is a lot more in-depth version. Don't know that it's necessary, but it's kind of cool. let's see here. They offer up renter's insurance and make it easy for residents to get renter's insurance if you require that. And again, they can make their money from the screenings, the upgraded services, the rent estimation reports. They charge a convenience fee, I'm sure, for their payment processing to the tenants. Again, tenant-based fees. They're trying to make it as cheap as possible for the landlord. They do syndicate out to Facebook Marketplace, RentPath, Realtor.com, ApartmentList.com, Rent.com are some of the big ones. But all in all, it's about 70 sites that they push out to. So it's quite a big network with TurboTenant. Apartments.com, similar. They have been big in the apartment, multifamily side of things for a long time. And when all of these shifts were happening on the single family marketing platforms, Apartments.com jumped in and started buying some up. Cozy.co was in line with TurboTenant and Avail.co and things along those lines, and Apartments.com ended up acquiring them along with a bunch of others to try to step into this single-family self-managed space that we are in. Same thing, offer online applications, tenant screening, digital leases, expense tracking, resident management communications, things along that lines to where you can send messages back and forth. I like how you can let them, and TurboTenant does too, but you can have them submit maintenance orders online. I really like that because that's your documentation. You can store their lease and other documents on there. You can get it to where they have access to where you can upload the lease, and then they can just jump online and see it whenever they want or download it themselves. Same deal, background screen. They get paid through background screenings, subscription services, rent estimation, same thing, premium listings. And they have their own syndication network, Apartments.com, Apartments for Rent, ApartmentFinder.com. So For Rent and Apartments.com and ApartmentFinder.com at one point in time were all competitors. And then, as I told you, they were going around just gobbling each other up there for a while, it seemed like. And that's when they purchased Cozy.co as well. But they have a whole network. I don't know exactly how many are in there, but it's a lot as well. It's a pretty powerful network. This is, this is their, I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but one of their spokespersons was Jeff Goldblum, if I remember. Yeah, that's right. So he has some, I like Jeff Goldblum. He has some funny commercials out there, and he does a lot of good stuff with Apartments.com. I don't know if he's still doing it for them or not, but if that rings any bell. Avail.co, so same thing. It started out as a place where you can market your property. Now this one hasn't seemed to keep up with the times as much as the other. They offer a lot of the same stuff. It doesn't seem as powerful as TurboTenant and Apartments.com. That's just my opinion at this point in time. Decide for yourself. But a lot of the same stuff: online application, screening service, digital leases, online rent collection, maintenance tracking, and so on. They make their money the same way. They syndicate out to the Zillow network. Actually, I am now wondering, I don't know this for sure, I'm wondering if Zillow picked these guys up like Apartments.com did Cozy.co. Because, these are all Zillow network syndicators. So I'm wondering if Zillow actually owns Avail.co. They have Avail.co has a lot of great resources. Forms and landlord tenant law links, and a lot of great articles. There's a lot to be learned from Avail.co. I've messed around in their platform. I got videos on all these overview videos, which I'm going to link in this section as well. If you don't want to go in and tinker around yourself, I have overview videos. You can watch me go in there, set properties up, and explore all the different options on all of these, if that is something you're interested in as well. So there's Avail.co. We're at the section recap, but let me just throw out a mention out there. I don't have it really broken down here, but again, now that we've been kind of talking about it, the Zillow, they have a lot of the similar stuff as Avail and TurboTenant Apartments.com. Again, I think one of the reasons I haven't concentrated on them because I think that they really are trying to get you on the front end to upgrade before you can enjoy a lot of those things. But go check them out for your own. Obviously Zillow has a huge network, and they have a lot of great resources themselves. They have a lot of great rent comps. They have a great landlord tenant law section, which I linked to as well. I should have probably included them on here because they are one of the big boys. But again, I think with their them leaning more towards charging landlords for the things these other guys are doing for free, I kind of steered away from that. But go check it out for yourself. I don't even know what they actually charge, but it is another great resource for you to explore and use. And they definitely have free components of the program, so use what works for you and leave the rest if it doesn't. And just because they charge doesn't mean it's not okay to buy it. I mean, I did the annual pass with Turbo Tenant just to see what it was about. I wanted to see what kind of forms they had. I wanted to check out the upsell benefits and all that, and I wanted to get inside and dig around a little more. And they had some great stuff in there. Some of that stuff is been adapted, and then kind of passed along to you guys as well. And some of the Forms Vault stuff, as I've taken and used it and altered it and changed it and made it my own, and like, yeah, I think somebody else can use this, and this is the Forms Vault of the Landlord launch. So just because they pay for it doesn't mean it's bad, that you shouldn't do it. Just, again, I try to focus on more of the free resource stuff for you. Okay, so section recap. Again, this whole online marketing section, as we wrap up the property marketing section, is really designed, just to explore some of the different places that can help drive traffic to your property. Like I said before, just because it's not listed on here, Zillow is a great example, doesn't mean there's not a lot of other places out there that can do things along these lines. It's just I just didn't cover them all. I wanted to grab some of the bigger ones I've experienced with, and just to give you kind of an idea of what they do and how they work, because they pretty much all work the same. There was another one that I saw once upon a time, Rentberry. I don't even know if they're still around, but rentberry.com was one. There are other resources out there. So if they're not on here, it doesn't mean they don't exist. Go out there, search for yourself, and maybe you find something that you like that has nothing to do with what we talked about today. So we talked about syndication, and again, syndication is a good thing. If you're getting on a platform and they only syndicate out to 2, 3, 4 people, find a different platform. They're just not big enough for you. You get more bang for your buck, and more bang for your buck, and your buck, in this case, being the time spent. I would much rather put one ad up and have it pushed out to 70 than one ad up and pushed out to 2, just so I have to go out and push out 3, 4, 5 other ads. There's a make sure you put value on your time, I guess is what I'm saying. And we also kind of covered how these marketing platforms operate and benefit the landlord. And again, I like the ones that are really trying to make this cheap for the landlord or free for the landlord, or making their money on the back end. I would, again, let's see, Facebook. Actually, I got a resource list here. Let's see yeah, here we go. Good. So first off, on the resources, there was a lot of information here where I referenced cheat sheets. I'm going to have this in the resource section. If you're interested in any of these, this is just a quick way for you to kind of go back and look about without having to go through the slides, without having to rewind the videos. I put together some cheat sheets for you that you can go straight to what we were talking about and refresh your memory on this stuff. Those include the headline guide, the property description formulas, the headline formulas, the photo cheat sheet. We mentioned the marketing photo checklist in here. This is where you can go through, and once you do it once or twice, you'll never need it again, but it's a good outline for you how to walk through that process yourself real quick, because again, once you do it, you're going to have it down. But it's still a useful cheat sheet. It'll get you going in the right direction. Floor plan resource guide just lists out some of those floor plan resources on the internet that we talked about. Some of those are free, some of those are paid. Again, personal preference is just going to Fiverr and having it done, especially if you only own 1 or 2 houses. It's not worth investing in the software, in my opinion. And sometimes just learning the free softwares is more of a headache than just paying the $20, $25 to somebody else to do it for you. But again, that is all personal preference, to do what works for you. So I got some other videos here that will be linked in this section, and we do one over the Facebook overview video, and I basically go through step by step on how to post a your listing to your personal Facebook page, and I go through the Facebook Marketplace as well. We do how to post to YouTube. I got one on Vimeo as well, and it's basically, what are the steps that you take to upload your video and get that all set up so you can use that link for video tours on both the Vimeo and the YouTube. How to post to Craigslist. It's just a step-by-step on what you need to do to update and upload your property to Craigslist if that's what you want to do for those. Like I said, we have overview videos. I have one on TurboTenant, Apartments.com, and Avail, and it's just going through TurboTenant and Avail for sure. I think Apartments.com, I actually set up a property and we go through some of the stuff. I show you what it looks like on the property flyers, the website listing, all of that. And then this last video here, I think, last video that you have access to is where we do a market survey walkthrough. I think we discussed this in the very first session, if I remember right, when we were talking about market rents. But we're just going to go through. We're going to pick a subject property. We're going to pick some comps, and we're going to use some of these internet listing sites, and we're going to use the property market survey worksheet, and we are going to walk through, and I'm going to show you how I put together a market survey so I can determine if my rent range is acceptable, if it's within the market rents, and if I'm leaving any money on the table, which again, even if you can find justification to raise your rents 50, 75 bucks, $100 a month, that's what it's all about. We do that every year. We're going to be in good shape here in 10, 15 years. We're going to stay with the market, and we're taking the risk. We might as well take advantage of every penny that could come our way, and that's what this market survey will do. And I'll show you how to do this. At least one of the ways. There's a lot of different ways we can do it. We'll look at we'll look at some of the free market survey resources, and we'll go through the market survey and all that good stuff. So it should be a good video. I highly recommend you watching it. Okay, so that is what I have for the property marketing section here with the Landlord Launch program. A lot to digest here. The next thing that we're going to jump into is property leasing and traffic, and it's not going to be a very long section. I think we'll have 1 or 2 modules on that one. But again, most of the important stuff is all the property marketing stuff, driving the traffic. The leasing is just really about executing everything that we're setting up here. So we're going to have that as our next section. Make sure to check out all of these other videos, resources, and then as always, join us for our weekly Q&A, live Q&A sessions with any questions that you have, any things that you want to work through, any processes you want to work through. That's what those are there for. If you don't have any questions, join us anyway, because other people jumping on, having questions, may have some things that you want to know or things you didn't even think about to ask, and you will learn from them. And if you can't make it live, that's okay. I will post the replay as well over in the $11 Landlord section of the community as well on that, or over in the members community page. So you will have access to the replays on those as well, on all those Q&As. So that is what I have for the property marketing. I hope this has been helpful, and that's it. We'll wrap it up. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.